budget. Meeting of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission will now come to order. Mr. George Rowe, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Please, all people star spangled banner and repeat after me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mr. Colley, would you please give us roll call?
Yes, sir. Seat A, Chucky Sherman.
Here.
Seat B, Tom Peake.
Here.
Seat C, Jimmy Lafont.
Here.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair.
Here.
Seat E, Reggie Leday.
Here.
Seat F, Ted Sabwa.
Here.
Seat G, John Melisson.
Here.
Seat H, Mike Colley here. Seat I, Chris Colley.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Colley. Next, we have approved minutes for November 14, 2024 meeting. Move on Mike Colley, second by John Melisson. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have presentation honoring Mr. Larry Griffin. How you want to do that?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and
I'm going to read the proclamation for you.
read the resolution that was passed by the Port Commission back in October, I believe. Yeah, October 17th, 2024. So let me go ahead and read that first. Whereas the members of the Board of Commissioners of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission have learned with deep regret and sorrow of the death of Mr. Larry Griffin on July 29th, 2024. And whereas Larry Griffin served his community through his contributions to the business community, particularly through the boat and restaurant industries. And whereas Larry Griffin served the Port Commission as a member for 31 years and 8 months, beginning November 1992, and has served as president, vice president, and treasurer. Whereas it is the desire of the members of the Board of Commissioners of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission to express to Larry's wife, Mrs. Myrna, family and friends, their deep and sincere sympathies during this time of grief and sorrow. And therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission that the members thereof do express to Mrs. Myrna, family and friends, their sincere and heartfelt regret and condolences at the death of Larry. So it is, Mr. Larry was our longest serving Port Commissioner ever in the history of the port. And we really, I know from myself and the staff, we really enjoyed working with him. And I know from the board members as well, so.
Yeah, 24 years working with your daddy, your grandpa, and your family. So it was an honor working with him. I learned a lot with him, and learned a lot not to do, but he was good. He joked everywhere, but it was an honor working with your daddy and grandfather for years.
You wanted to say something?
Yes, I want to say to the Griffin family that it was an honor to finish out the term of Larry Griffin on this seat. His service to the Greater Lafourche Port Commission and the community will long be remembered. It was a privilege to have known him since 1960. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hey, he was my seatmate. He kept me in order. When you first start off as a young commissioner, sitting next to an experienced gentleman like Mr. Griffin, when you're moving and going off course, it's nice to have a friend to kick you in the leg and get you back straight. So seatmate helps you develop, and Larry was a great seatmate, and he's going to be missed dearly.
All right. And I can't, yeah, I will, but I can tell you, oh, you have one?
No, go ahead.
I can tell you that this month, this holiday season, for Mr. Larry, every meeting in December, he would end it out by saying, remember, Jesus is the reason for the season.
Absolutely.
He always did that and reminded us of that every December meeting. So it's certainly an honor to be able to say that on his behalf today.
It was awesome. Thank you all for coming here and taking part in this presentation. I was I've been here for 9 years, but got to know Mr. Larry. It was an honor and a privilege to serve with him the last 9 years. And he always brought a loaf of French bread. And I kind of, since he left and when he got ill, I took over bringing the bread to our meetings. And I was glad to do that.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Larry. Thank you.
All right. The family wants to come up.
You want to go up? Yeah, whoever wants to go, come up and.
Pictures of him this morning. We'll go ahead and take a picture.
Great.
Thank you all.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, okay. Next, we have Executive Director's Report. Mr. Chasson.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is our Northern Expansion Projects, Northern Expansion Slip D Bulkhead, GIS Engineering.
Good morning, John Plaisance with GIS Engineering. The construction on this project continues. We have finished the test pile program. We anticipate being able to shorten some of the piles and still get the loading we need on the bulkhead.
Thank you.
We haven't quite nailed down those numbers yet, but we'll have that for you next meeting.
Any questions? Thank you, John. All right, airport projects. Aircraft operations, Davey?
Operations for last month were 1,567. We had 10,580 passengers, and we had the most vehicles visit the airport last month in the year, which was 23,044 vehicles.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions? All right, Airport Connector Road and Bridge, PCO Lynn Associates.
Yeah, Sea-Level Construction, the contractor, they continue to work on the airport connector road itself. They finished all the asphalt construction. They're working on cleaning up the shoulders and doing dress-up work around the drainage work. They're also working on electrical on the bridge itself and inside the control house. And they're also working on the lift span, which you see on the bayou side there, anticipation of the receipt of machinery, and then they'll put the lift span in place later, probably early part of next year.
Okay.
All right.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. FBO Terminal, GIS.
Okay, construction on this project is well underway. They're making good progress. They've gotten all the timber piles holding up the building in place, and they're setting up the forms for the concrete pour.
All right. Any questions? Okay, the fuel system rehabilitation.
Fuel system rehab, they are getting ready to start construction on site. They have still waiting on the tanks to be delivered, but they've got some stuff to be done before the tanks are to be set. So we expect them sometime this month on site and start working on all that. Later on the agenda, there is a change order to add some more valves and that type of work on the project.
Okay. Any questions for John? Thank you, John. All right, other projects. First is Hurricane Ida repair projects. That's breakwater repairs, Angelette Design.
Okay, this project was awarded to Rigid Constructors. They are currently sourcing the material at the quarry with an anticipated mobilization date end of January 2025, and an anticipated end of construction about the end of March 2025. So that potentially will put them about 60 days behind on the project. We have communicated that, concern to them. They do have representation here today in the audience, and they understand the potential repercussions of the liquidated damages. So I think they're taking the issue serious, but right now they're still just sourcing material to get everything together for the project.
Any questions? Okay, Fouchon Beach.
All right, on this project, we're putting together our plans and specs with an anticipated advertisement right after the holidays. We are continuing to meet with contractors and subcontractors to try and start up as much interest as we can on the project, so I think we'll have a much better turnout than we have before.
Good deal. Any questions? Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Flotation Canal and Front Commercial Marina Dredge, PCOla and Associates.
It's Coastal Dredging is the contractor. Right now, they're working on dredging on Flotation Canal pretty much in front of Slip D. They've kind of hit some shells that they're working on pumping into the area to the east of Slip D. That's slowing down their progress. So we're in discussions with them about that. We do have a change order number 3 on the agenda for approval for $24,500 with no days, and we've, along with Dave, he has asked them to put more levees in the retainage area, the spoil area, to try to capture some of that material, because the material they're pumping now is good material. We'd like to capture as much of that as possible. So this change order is justified going forward, and we recommend that you approve it. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Joe. All right, the airport hangar replacement, GIS, engineering.
Okay, this project, we will rebuild the hangar that was damaged during Hurricane Ida. The contractor has started work, but as y'all may recall, we had some issues with the big door. We think we've got all those settled, and we expect to see, probably after the first of the year, work in earnest.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, before I conclude my report, I wanted to mention to y'all, I left on the desk for y'all was the packet that we had actually submitted to the Louisiana Ports and Waterways Investment Commission. That's basically our master plan projects that we have for the foreseeable future thus far. But since we put that together for them, I wanted y'all to have a copy of that.
Appreciate that.
Gives a lot of good information in there. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. Secondly, I wanted to mention the special, guest in the audience today. And I'll start with a former port commissioner, Mr. Fry Sheremy. Thank you, Mr. Fry, for being here today. Representative Joe Ogeron is here. Councilman Daniel Lorraine is here. From Governor Jeff Landry's office, we have Doug Sheremy is here, and our newly elected Seat F Port Commissioner, Mr. Chad Colley. Thank you all for being here today.
Yeah.
And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Any public comment? Okay, we're going into committees.
Wait,
What's that?
Joe has something.
You got something, Joe? Come on.
Thank you very much. As state representative, of course, I represented for the the special session on tax reform for Louisiana. Very happy to have taken part of that. The ultimate resultant will be on the ballot. There'll be a lot to learn about it in March. It'll be on the ballot for all of us to vote on. I hope that y'all could support the changes that we've, as the legislator, have put forth to put Louisiana on the right track. Additionally, in the local community, other things that have gone on, I've been on top of the Golden Meadow Bridge, of course, and I have learned from a report yesterday that one of the engineers at DOTD, the current situation is that the gearbox is taken off and had to be repaired, and he went to the repair shop and visited it, and they're putting it back together, and they're going to be starting the testing process. There is a push by me and all the people in DOTD to try to get it done before January 1st. I am hearing that that's ambitious, but we are trying to get that done. Other things in the area that have come up is additionally this weekend as Restore a Retreat, we planted 10,000 mangroves on the terraces outside of Fouchon. We had about 4 days of planning with about 20 to 30 volunteers each day. The weather was quite challenging. One day we had to start late, but the water levels were low. I had a lot of people from Shell, Danos, Loop, LSU students, different people from all over came in, and was successful, and they're gonna be doing a phase 2, some smaller terraces closer to the Caminada Headlands Back Marsh Creation Project, and we still had a surplus of mangroves left over from this project that were not able to be put in the ground, and the good people, Aaron Pierce and the good people at RES in Pointe-Jeanne actually took the plants back, put them back into the holders that float water in them to keep them alive, so we're gonna be able to do more planting a little bit later. And lastly, you know, one of the projects of the master plan, the Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion, is currently in some legal litigation. And I, of course, representing the people of District 54, believe that this is an important project, and I'm standing up and making a fight for it, and I'm requesting a letter of resolution of support from the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. And I'd like y'all to consider writing a letter of support in that this is one of the cornerstone projects of the Coastal Master Plan that has been approved in the past by 3 legislative cycles unanimously. And we know that, you know, part of what's needed is all of the man-made structures that we build, the barrier island restoration, the back marsh creation, the land bridges, the marsh creations followed with dredging, but reconnecting the one part of the toolbox that this represents is reconnecting the river to the Barataria estuary to put back the marsh that will be the storm surge attenuation that we all need to protect our levee. To protect our levee, to be able to get to Port Fourchon and make sure that we're able to get to that not only energy independence, but that energy dominance, and keep our life here in the lower Lafourche area going as we understand it. So I'd like y'all to give it consideration, and I know that it's probably gonna be, you know, in your own executive board meetings, but that's it. That's all I got. Happy to take questions. And anybody in the public who's not fully understanding about the importance of the Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion in our district, I'd be happy to explain it and talk their ear off about why it's such an important project for our area. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, any other public comment? All right, moving on, going into executive meetings. Members are Chucky Sherman, Chairman, Rodney J. Jusclair, Jim LaFawn, Tom Pete. First, we have consider approving the Airwind agreement with Loop.
All right, this is something we've been discussing for a while. It allows us to put equipment on the Loop Tower. Recommendation to approve.
Okay, I need a motion. Moved by Mr. Jimmy LaFawn, second by Reggie Legear. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, consider approving the cooperative endeavor agreement with Shell Exploration for the Fourchon Beach project.
All right, this agreement says that Shell will give us $250,000 per year for 4 years for the beach project. Recommendation to approve.
Okay, I need a motion. Moved by Mr. Ted Salwa, second by Mr. Rodney Jusclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, consider approving the cooperative endeavor agreement with Lafourche Parish Government for Fourchon Beach project.
All right, so we had an agreement with Lafourche Parish Government for several years, and that agreement has expired, so this is a re-up of that agreement that says that the parish will give us $2 million of their GOMESA funds for the beach project.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Mike Cully, second by Mr. Tom Petrie. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, consider approving the surplus sale bids.
All right, we had 2 items in surplus sale. We took bids on December 9th at 10 a.m. One was a 2012 Chevrolet Tahoe. Minimum bid was $1,000. We received a bid for $1,500. And the second was a 1999 Generac 100 kW diesel generator. Minimum bid $2,000. $2,500 was bid. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. John Mellison, second by Mr. Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we're getting out of executive committee, going into permits and waterways committee. Members are Rodney Jusclair, Chairman, Tom Pete, Mr. Ted Sawa, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Gisclair, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're going to review the permit from Gulf South Pipeline Company, LLC. Its proposed project will consist of a staging area and 4 temporary workspace areas where suspended and exposed pipe will be covered with riprap and limestone. Approximately 3,690 cubic yards of gravel and 6,920 cubic yards of rock will be used as fill. And Mr. President, that's all the permit and waterways has to discuss. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gisclair, thank you. Now we're going to Construction and Development Committee. Members are Chris Colley, Chairman, Mike Colley, Jim Lafourche, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Colley, you're up.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. First, we'll consider approving change order number 1 from Volute for the fuel system rehabilitation project.
All right, this is a change order for $9,658 and 100 calendar days for valve changes and the lead time for those changed valves. Recommendation to approve.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Chris Colley, second by Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Next, we'll consider approving the clear lien certificate from Grand Isle Shipyard for the Leeville Bucket Dredge project.
This project is complete. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion. Move by Mr. Chris Colley, second by Mr. Thomas Petrie. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Next, we'll consider approving change order number 3 from Coastal Dredging for the Flotation Canal and Front Commercial Marina Dredge project.
All right, this is an increase of $24,500 for work that we requested. Recommendation to approve.
All right, we got a motion. Moved by Mr. Chris Colley, second by Mr. Ted Sawa. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, this concludes the Construction Development Committee report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Colley. Next, we're going to Finance Committee. Members are John Mellison, Jr., Chairman, Chris Colley, Reggie Ledet, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Mellison, your turn.
All right, good morning. Thank you, Mr. President. We'll begin by consider approving payments of the 2024 November invoices and recognizing those over $25,000. We'll begin with line item 1, LADOT, $5 million even. That's for the elevated LA1 highway.
And this
Mr.
is-
Chasson, would you like
Yes,
to
sir.
elaborate on that?
This is payment 4 of 5. So we have, this is the one before last payment for that, the LA1 elevated highway project that the Port Commission committed to help fund.
Thank you, sir. Item 2, Coastal Dredging Company Incorporated, $193,772.50. That's for dredging of the flotation canal and the front commercial marina. Item 3, BET Construction Incorporated, $168,870.04. That's for the FBO terminal. Item 4, GIS Engineering, $165,308.25. That's for the Fouchon Island Feed Study, the Port Fouchon Marsh Creation, Slip D Bulkhead, General Consulting and Engineering, and the Airport Terminal. Item 5, Eustis Engineering LLC, $98,102.15. That's for the Fouchon Bridge Placement Survey, along with Slip D Test Pile Program. Item 6, Angelette Design LLC, $84,361.96. That's for the Flotation Canal Bank Line Protection and the Bayou Lafourche and Flotation Canal Bulkhead. Item 7, the Barataria Terrebonne Estuary Foundation, $60,000 even. That's for the Mitigation Bank Easement Holder. Item 8, PCO and Associates, $59,341.67. That's for the Airport Connector Road and Bridge Project, along with the Northern Mitigation Area Survey. Item 9, Sea Level Construction, $45,573.54. That's for the Airport Connector Road and Bridge Project. And last, we have American Integration Contractors, $26,272.72, and that's for security camera repairs. These expenditures, along with the others, brings us to a total of $6,994,000. $628.03. And Mr. Colley, if I didn't make any mistakes, I'd like to make a motion we approve these.
Perfectly done, sir. I'm happy to say.
All right, got a motion by Mr. John Mellison, second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion pass.
Next, we have, as discussed in our Monday night committee meeting, the approval of the November 2024 unaudited financial statements. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we approve these.
I got a motion by Mr. John Mellison. Need a second by Mr. Thomas Petrie. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion pass.
Next, we have consider approving out-of-state travel and training requests. We have Harbor Police Officer Luke Adams attending the Advanced Law Enforcement and Rapid Response Training in Texas, December 1st through the 5th.
Sorry.
And we also have Director Chasson attending the American Association of Port Authorities Legislative Summit in Washington, March 17th through the 21st. And I'd like to make a motion, we accept these.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. John Mellison, second by Mr. Jim Lafont. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion pass.
Next, we have consider approving the 2025 budget. Are we going to be doing a presentation on this?
Yes,
All right,
we are.
Ms. Parker?
Okay, so in front of you, you have your consolidated income statement budget. We're going to briefly go over that summary. Our first item is our revenues. This is our lease revenue, dolphin revenue, and airport revenue. This is anticipated to be around $32,373,163. From there, we deduct our direct costs, which is landowner expense and depreciation, of about $12.1 million to get our gross profit of $20,244,845. From there, we add in our operating profit and loss, which is anticipated to be a loss of around $2 million. From there, we add our non-operating revenues and expenses of $19.8 million to give us a net income of $17,759,880. Next, we will go over the non-operating revenues and expenses on page 2. This is where we account for our ad valorem revenue. That's anticipated to be around $2.4 million, and also our capital grants, operating grants, and emergency grants. We also have here our interest we expect to earn in 2025, which is around $3.5 million, and our emergency repair project expense. This is where we account for our emergency disaster contingency, which is 5% of our operating and capital budget. That comes out to be around $4.2 million. And we also have our special items. These are items that are within management's control and are unusual and infrequent in nature. This is where we account for our 5th payment, our final payment to LA1 Phase 2. And also we have a large payment of $5.2 million for our insurance captive. That is for our self-insurance of our property in 2025 in an effort to save in premiums in the future. And now Chet's gonna go over some of the larger projects.
Yeah, if you go to page 3, we have the Lafourche Beach Restoration and Breakwaters Project, total project of about $17 million. We anticipate third-party agency share, Lafourche Parish Government, CPRA, FEMA, Shell, about $13 million and $4 million out of Port Commission. Page 4, Slip D bulkhead of 1,600 linear feet that's currently under construction, about $16.1 million project. 13.8 from DOTD Port Priority, and 2.3 from Port Commission. The Bayou Lafourche bulkhead design, that's on the corner of Flotation Canal and Bayou Lafourche, about 1.5 million. And the Slip D sweep dredging project about for the completion of that bulkhead of about 1.8 with 1.6 of GLPC and about 140,000 of DOTD Port Priority. If you flip to page 6, I wanted to highlight a couple projects there, and those are Seaport Public Works Cost Center projects, capital projects. That's Coastal Wetlands Park, the Information Hub and Walkway. We have, it's about a $1.8 million project, about $350,000 coming from the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Hopefully, we can get a few more dollars, but we know for sure it's $350,000. With the difference being 1.5 from Port Commission. The Fouchon Bridge and Connector Road project, that's the engineering and design funds, about 250 coming from capital outlay, 1,000 and 1.75 coming from the Port Commission. Fouchon Island bucket dredge, both of these in terms of construction are based on us getting the permit that we anticipate receiving at some point by hopefully by mid 2025, so we can move forward with bucket dredging on Fouchon Island, about $1 million. Some boat launch improvements at the public boat launch in Fouchon, about $125,000 for road, parking lot, and the launch. And then another one I wanted to highlight was flotation canal, shoreline protection, the North Bank. About $5 million, about 3.2 coming from FEMA and 1.8 coming from the Port Commission. We can flip to page 8. I want to mention this is Airport Profit Center, Cost Center Budget Capitalized Project. The airport hangar replacement we talked about $750,000. That's a FEMA project of $675,000 and $75,000 of Port Commission. Flip again, page 10. Airport Public Works Cost Center capitalized projects. The terminal construction project, about a $4.3 million project. About $3 million, a little over $3 million coming from FAA and LADOTD, and another 1.3 coming from the Port Commission. Airport Connector Road and Bridge, about $6 million left, about 5.5 coming from capital outlay, and 475,000 coming from the Port Commission. The fuel storage and dispenser replacement, $832,000 project, 540 coming from LADOTD, and then the difference is our share, and then the ILS replacement design of $1 million, all coming from LADOTD. And that gets us to the page 11, basically the cover page of our budget once it's completed, so I'll pass it back to you.
Okay, and here we have our consolidated statement of cash flows for 2024 and 2025. We expect to end 2024 with around $92,473,651. From there, you would add in your net income that we discussed earlier of around $17.8 million. We also add in our depreciation expense, and we deduct our capital assets and capital projects. We add in the decrease of deferred revenues to give us an ending cash of around $69,497,588. From there, we are reserving $48 million for future Fouchon Island development. We have deducted from that number from last year by the actual expenses that we have spent in 2024 for the Fouchon Island development. And then at the bottom here, we have our budget totals for the year. Our operating budget will be around $34,407,598. Capital budget, $49,366,948. And our non-operating budget, $32,268,727, to give us a total budget for the year of $116,043,273.
And once again, this is a very conservative budget. If you look at what we budgeted in 2024 of a total budget of 121.6, our projected actual budget for, with all the projects we've done and everything, all of our expenditures was about 55.3 million. So again, very conservative budget to capture everything, and we recommend approval of this budget.
All right, with that being said, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Parker or Director Sasso?
Nope.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we accept the 2025 budget.
All right, Mr. Melison, I've got a motion by Mr. Melison, second by Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion has passed.
Thank you. At this time, the commission would like to thank Ms. Parker and her staff for the diligent work done on preparing the budget. It takes a lot of their time and effort. And once again, thank you for a job well done.
All right.
All right, moving on. I think we have, no, this ends my committee report, Mr. President. This concludes the Finance Committee report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Melison. Next, we have Mr. Ted outgoing commissioners would like to give a statement. Well, he wants to talk, so we'll let him talk for the third time.
This is my last board meeting before the newly elected board takes over for the next 6 years. This is the third time giving this my farewell talk to the Greater Lafourche Port Commission, having served seat D, seat E, and now seat F. I want to say that each time I sat on the board, there were some new faces, but the goal of the board was always the same. How to make the Greater Lafourche Port Commission better? How can we always but the goal of the board was always the same. We can make the Greater Lafourche better. How can we improve the port? How can we improve the airport? How can we do more to improve our community? The commissioners of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission serves us well. It has been an honor to serve with them. I would like to congratulate Director Chet Chasson on a great job that he has done for the port. Under his leadership, the Greater Lafourche Port Commission is an economic mainstay of our community. The working of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission is known both near and far. His work has been recognized by the community, parish, state, and federal agencies, and by many of his peers around the United States. His work is also known internationally. I was not able to visit the many areas that our great employees serve. I want to let them know that their service to the Great Lafourche Port Commission and the community is appreciated. You are a vital part of this commission and this community. To the administrative staff, I want to say a job well done. You are the one that provides the information and skill set to the rest of the team for them to accomplish their duties and goals. This group has many departments, but their only goal is to make the Greater Lafourche Port Commission the best it can be. I want to congratulate Mr. Chad Kale on being elected to serve on seat F of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. To the newly elected Greater Lafourche Port Commission, I want to say congratulations, and may your work for the port be as great in the future as it was in the past. I want to say again, it was an honor to serve again on the Greater Lafourche Port Commission, along with the many employees that have served my community of South Lafourche. Merry Christmas, and may 2025 be a great year for all. May God bless us all.
All right.
We do have a very small token of our appreciation for you for the third time, so thank you very much.
My wall got, I have to find a new wall to put this on. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. 3 times, Mr. Ted. It has been a pleasure serving with you. And you will be missed, even though you're just interim, you will be missed. All right. Any other business?
I did just want to mention to the board that on Wednesday, December 18th at 3 o'clock in here, the formerly known as Fourchon Women's Association, Fourchon Energy Association, will be doing its grant award presentation. I think we're giving away $150,000 in grants to local and regional area nonprofits. So we're very, very proud to be able to do that this year again with Davey and I and Mr. Kale, Chris Kale being on the board, serving, Joe Ogeron as well, serving on the board of the Fourchon Energy Association, and proud to give back to the community for sure.
When is it gonna be?
Next Wednesday, December 18th. December 18th.
3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock, here, in here.
Yeah, 3. Right, any other business? Public comment. I'm gonna give a chance to our commissioners to wish, if y'all wanna wish Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone, since it's gonna be our last televised meeting. Yeah, Joe.
I'm back here. Second part of the During the course of the presentations, I took a picture of the low fuel prices at the airport, and I sent it to my legislative roommate, who has his own plane, lives in Bossier City, likes to fly down here, always complains to me that, but y'all don't have no rental cars at the airport. And I took a picture and I said, look, 528 LL, and he says, great price, get the rental cars, exclamation point. And so I just wanted to take a moment to ask, has that ever been looked at, and getting a company to do rental cars? What's the situation?
So there used to be a rental car service here, and it was at Golden Motors, and it was Enterprise, and they no longer have that anymore because they used to service the airport.
Bringing cars, they had the cars there, and they would bring them to the airport when you needed them on.
But there are no rental car services here.
Gotcha, just not enough volume as of yet. Despite the 20,000.
However,
We do provide a courtesy car.
we do have a courtesy
you to
vehicle
run
out there
local.
that
Gotcha.
people can use.
And it's okay to stop, fuel up, and leave, okay?
All of them do that. Even the ones with the jets will come out their way to land and get the good price on the fuel, but.
But we do agree that we could work on providing.
Gotcha. I think what they're looking for is people that want to come charter fishing and stuff like that. I mean, you know, whether or not the charter guides would come and come up to pick them up or not, you know, for that.
There's a car rental in Thibodeau, and I'll check with them and ask them about it.
All right.
See if they would be interested.
Thank you, George.
Thanks.
All right, anyone on commissioners, Mr. Tom, you want to start with?
I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Stay safe.
Mr. Lafourche?
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Thank you.
Wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a joyous New Year, and thank you all for coming today to our meeting. Thanks.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Ted?
Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year's, and may your work be honored.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.
I want to wish a blessed Christmas to everybody and a great 2025.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone out there.
All right, Mr. Shasta.
And I'd like to pick up, once again, I'll say it again one more time, for Mr. Larry Griffin. Remember, Jesus is the reason for the season.
Amen.
All right. Okay, look, on behalf of the Port Commission, everyone, and our administration, our staff, everyone, have a Happy New Year's, a safe and Happy New Year's, and Merry Christmas. Look, it's Merry Christmas. It's Christ in Christmas. There's no X in Christmas. Remember that. It's Christ in Christmas. Might not be politically correct, but that's the way we feel. So everyone have a Merry Christmas. And will we have the New Year's Eve? We will have New Year's Eve, the call to port office. And if you're drinking and driving for New Year's Eve, call the port office number and someone will pick you up. We'll be having it down here again.
Just to elaborate on that. So for the last several years, we've done basically you call 396-3911 or 985-396-3911 if you would like a ride home, safe ride home. We don't want anyone drinking and driving. And no questions asked, call that number and we will drive people to their homes from wherever they are so that everyone can be safe. And we'll do that through the holidays.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right.
I move that we adjourn, Mr. President.
I got a motion by Mr. Jimmy Lafone, second by Mr. Tom Pete. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion's passed. Everyone have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. Meeting's adjourned.
I quit.
And also in honor of Mr. Larry, because we know that Mr. Larry would have made us sing Happy Birthday to Mike. So since we're gonna sing you Happy Birthday, all right, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,